It's a brand new year, and that means now is the perfect time to plan some sewing projects to undertake over the next 12 months. Now, I've been looking at a bunch of fabrics that I have on hand and patterns to go with them, and I'm super excited to share them with you today. Hi, I'm Tony, and this is So Lounge. Now, if you're like me, you look at a brand new year as the possibility and opportunity to get a reset on your sewing projects and start trying some new things. And of course, use the fabric that you have in your stash. Now, last year at this time, I made the declaration that I was not going to buy fabric. I was going to sew from my stash. And then high fashion fabrics went out of business and I had to buy fabric because it's the best fabric store that was in Houston. It is no longer with us, but they had some amazing sales and incredible deals on absolutely gorgeous high-end fabric. So this year, I'm going to say that I'm not going to buy any new fabric because of everything that I got at high fashion, in addition to fabric still hanging around from my London fabric haul and my New York fabric haul, which was way back in 2022 at the very beginning of this channel. So I'm going to make that declaration. We'll see how well it goes. I think I can probably stick to it this year because my stash has grown considerably. And I've been going through the different fabrics and trying to come up with some new plans for this year that's different from what I've sewn in the past. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know that I like sewing with a lot of cotton broadcloth fabrics because they are easy to find, they are easy to sew, and because I'm in Texas where it's hot most of the time, super comfortable to wear because cotton is such a lovely breathable fiber. But I do have a bunch of other fabrics in my stash that are not quite as super wearable here in Texas, but they're very fun to sew, and I've been collecting patterns to work with these different types of fabrics. In fact, I'm so excited about fabric that I'm going to call this year the year of fabric because I'm going to be sewing with a variety compared to years past, and I'm going to be sharing my fabric knowledge with you because I love fabric. I am a fabric savant, for lack of a better word. I have always loved going and touching fabric in fabric stores. If you like doing that, you know what I'm talking about. I had a little chat with my friend Jean, and we were talking about how we like to go to fabric stores and pet the fabric. Mine started when I was very young though, because grandma used to take me fabric shopping with her and put me in the buggy and then like kind of park me while she was looking at different fabrics on the aisle. And I just sit there and like touch all the fabric that I wanted. So my obsession started at a very young age. Now I did take textiles 1 and 2 and a lab in college, and so that's where I kind of got the more in-depth version of fabric. But I'm going to be helping y'all out, helping you learn fabric this year through a variety of different videos and using the things that I have on hand, which, you know, will also help reduce the stash so that maybe next year I can go on some more shopping sprees and buy some more awesome fabrics. So to get started, I have been sewing with knits more in 2024 than I have previously. Towards the end of last year, I broke out my serger and started actively using it to construct garments as opposed to, you know, sewing knits on my regular sewing machine and then, you know, just using my serger to finish the seam allowances. And then recently, in celebration of hitting 20,000 viewers, thank you for your part in making that happen, I bought a cover stitch machine because I'm really enjoying sewing knits. I want to sew more knits, and a cover stitch machine is going to help me make those hems and armhole and neck hole finishes all look a lot better. So I have not started using it yet. I am still watching the Baby Lock videos on how to thread it and use it, but that will also be coming up this year, in addition to more sewing on the serger with different serger presser foot options and things you can do with that. As I figure them out, I'm going to be sharing all of that with you. To get started, we're going to talk about knits. Now, Some of you have seen my sister on some of my videos. She does pop in occasionally, especially when I make something that's a little bit too big because she's a size bigger than I am. And for the last few years, I have been promising to make her a Diane von Furstenberg style wrap dress. So the pattern we had initially got was this very easy Vogue pattern, which I believe is still in print. This is Vogue 8379, and you can see it here. This was kind of the easy, kind of knockoff version of the DVF wrap dress. And so this is what I've had for the last couple of years, but the dress has never materialized because I was still not super comfortable sewing with knit, and my sister was not at a size she wanted to be at for me to make her dress. Fast forward to 2024, and suddenly it's the 50th anniversary of the official DVF wrap dress. Vogue reissued their 1970s pattern for the dress, and I bought it because, of course, once she found out about this pattern being reissued, she wanted an official DVF wrap dress, not just the knockoff version, which doesn't have the full length sleeves or the fancy cuffs, which is what she really likes. So I think I might make one of each of these this year with the assistance of my sister, because I did tell her that if I was making her a dress, she needed to come participate and be part of the video. So we'll see which one we start with. But the fabric that I'm going to start with for the official dress is this gorgeous jersey knit. This is an Italian fabric that I think Anna actually bought this fabric because it was a little pricey at our friends at Leo 9. They had this. It is gorgeous. It is 100% cotton. Since it's jersey, it's not super stretchable. It doesn't really stretch in the length. It's more stretch in the width. And it does not have any added spandex to it, so it is not a four-way stretch. But that is the kind of knit fabric that is required for both of these dresses, so it will work perfectly. And then I'm thinking that the other one, this is a fabric I bought, but Anna loves. I think it might look really fun in this lemon knit. This is another jersey knit. This one is 95% cotton and the rest is spandex. So this is a four-way stretch knit compared with the other jersey, which is not. So this will be a little bit more of a sizing, kind of keep track of how the stretch goes to make sure we get the right size. And, you know, maybe we'll make this one in the very easy Vogue pattern, which is a little bit simpler than the original Diane von Furstenberg dress. Continuing with the idea of sewing more knits, if you're not familiar with Marcy Tilton fabrics, they have a lot of dead stock from designers, and you can pick up some really, really beautiful, unusual fabrics that you will not be able to find anywhere else. Well, back in November, they were doing a promo with a discount called Vote and Sew, and so I picked up some beautiful knits to make some projects with, which I did not get around to at the end of last year. So this is a pattern from Sew House 7. This is the Cosmos sweatshirt and elemental pencil skirt. I don't know if I've shown you guys this before. I don't really remember when I bought it. I bought it last year sometime. It was on sale, and so I thought, hey, why not pick it up? It is a raglan style sweatshirt with a, like, just kind of a funnel type collar that then you can fold down, and it's just a straight pencil skirt. So I got this really pretty, this is gray and kind of different shades of purple. It is a sweater knit, so it has some nice stretch in both directions. It is, I don't know what it's made out of. It's cotton and probably there's some spandex in it. It kind of feels like there's something synthetic in it. But I thought it was a nice weight. It's not super heavy, which means it'll be comfortable for winter down here in Texas, which it's still not winter even though it's January. So that's what the top is going to be made out of. And then I got this really fun, this is a cotton and rayon knit. This has a rib in it, which I liked, and I thought that would just add a little bit of interest to the skirt. Instead of just having like a plain straight skirt, there'd be a little bit of a rib to it to go with this fun geometric print, and I really liked how those things went together, and that will get me sewing some more knits. And, you know, this is something I want to kind of tackle a little bit sooner rather than later, since, you know, our winter is, well, it hasn't really started, but it's shorter here in Texas than most places, and I would like a chance to get to wear this at some point. So, you know, I have a bunch of indie patterns that I do not really sew very often, because to use indie patterns, I really think I need to trace them off because they're not cheap, and I don't want to cut them down to various sizes and then not have access to those sizes after the fact. Unlike McCall's and Simplicity, where I can pick them up for $1.99, $2.99, you know, the list price on this was a lot higher. I usually do buy them when they're on sale, so they're usually like 20% off or something. But, you know, this is like an $18 pattern, so I don't want to just cut it up, which is why I don't really sew with them that often, because I really have to be in the mood to start tracing off patterns and transferring all those markings. But I'm going to do a better job this year, and I do have another Sew House 7 pattern. This is the Skyline Tee. This just came out last year. This might be the perfect knit top that I've been looking for to start replacing some of the Ann Taylor and Banana Republic knit tops that are in my wardrobe that I wear to work every day. Now, thankfully, I bought them all pre-pandemic when the quality of fabric and the construction of clothes was a lot better than it is post-pandemic. I'm not sure why that's happening, but if you've been shopping recently, you know that the quality of clothes has gone way, way downhill. And the other reason I'm making this is because some people, not you of course, have made comments about me wearing black t-shirts in all of my videos. Now, first of all, it's a uniform, so it's something I don't have to think about when I am getting ready to film. Like, I have to think of sound and lighting and everything. It's one less thing to think about to say I'm going to put on a black t-shirt and jeans. But the other thing is, because some people have complained, I've decided that I'm just going to make my own black t-shirts. And Marcy Tilton had some lovely black knit fabrics in her arsenal, and so I picked up some. This is a lush black. This is, cotton and modal. Modal is kind of like rayon. It's like a synthetic man-made fiber, so it's super soft, and this does have some nice stretch in it. So that's going to be a black t-shirt. And then I got this other one. This is 100% cotton knit. This is, this has more, this is probably a jersey because it doesn't really stretch lengthwise. It only stretches widthwise. This is another one. So I will be having a black t-shirt project happening at some point this year. And then those complainers can stop making comments about my black t-shirts because I will have made them. And if this pattern does not work out, but I think it will, I will try and make a copy of one of my black t-shirts that I already own, and see if I can do a Banana Republic knockoff. Now, I have not been sewing with Vogue patterns a lot, even though I like them and I tend to buy them, but I feel like it's kind of getting to that point where I want to branch out a little bit, do some things that are a little bit more designer looking to wear in my everyday life, especially since I want to use some of my fancier fabrics. So I found this Isaac Mizrahi pattern. I actually got an old 90s version of the Vogue pattern magazine, which if you were sewing in the 90s, you probably remember it, but was very expensive back then. So since I was in college and on a budget, I never bought it. This was one of the patterns that was featured in an issue that I found recently. And I have always loved Isaac Mizrahi. He's a very classic American designer. This one is from, what was the copyright on this? 1996. And I just love the styling of it. It's kind of Jackie Kennedy, Audrey Hepburn kind of a look. And one of the fabrics suggested for this is raw silk. Now, I did manage to buy some raw silk when I was at High Fashion. This one is actually called red, but it looks hot pink. So I'm not sure how the camera is picking up the color. To me, it looks hot pink, not red, but it was labeled as red. It is raw silk. I have 4 yards of this, which thankfully will not be required for this dress. So the version I want to make is B, which has an A-line skirt, welt pockets, and then it has like a bow button detail down the side. This is no longer in print. This is Vogue 1795. I bought this on Etsy and was super excited that I could find it. Now, the only snag in all of this is that this is a size 12. That was the biggest size range they had. Back then, they used to break it up 8 to 12 and then 14 to 18, and then that was as big as the pattern got. So I could not find any of the size 14, which is my current pattern size. So we will see what the actual measurements are going to be once I unwrap this, and might need to make a few adjustments so that it fits properly, but it is A-line, and so I think that it's really just going to be maybe a bust adjustment to get that to fit properly. But that is one of the things, and using this gorgeous raw silk. Now, you may be wondering, why is it called raw silk? Raw silk is silk that the silkworms have busted out of the cocoon. So it's not a continuous long filament of silk like the cocoons that are boiled. And yes, the silkworms do get boiled with them. These are the ones where they let the silkworm mature, it turns into a moth, it busts out. It will eventually lay more eggs and make more silkworm cocoons, but it's a lower quality in that it is a shorter fiber. And so when you weave it, it doesn't have quite the same sheen that a smoother silk filament will, but it's still really pretty. This kind of looks like linen, but it is not. It's just a plain weave in raw silk. And it has a little bit of color variation. I don't know if you can see that. And there is a slight difference in the texture of the yarn because it kind of gets a little thicker and a little thinner. Just one of those natural characteristics of raw silk. So I'm excited to be able to make this. And when I saw that raw silk was one of the suggested fabrics, I was super excited because I just bought that at High Fashion in the spring and now I have a good use for it. When I went to Mood Fabrics in New York back in summer of 2022, I had this pattern in mind to make a raincoat. It does rain a lot down here. Obviously, we are like in Hurricane Central on the Gulf Coast of Texas, but I needed a new raincoat. I don't really have one that would look good to wear to work, and I thought that this kind of slightly midi length trench would be perfect. So I took the yardage measurements and I went to New York and I found this very brightly colored raincoat fabric. Now you can hear it kind of peeling off. This is 100% cotton fabric that has been treated with a waterproofing vinyl kind of coating. So this is going to be water repellent, but then the inside is not treated, so it just feels like cotton, which is going to be much nicer to wear. This has been something that was supposed to have been made 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, since we're in 2025. And I've had the pattern cut out, like the envelope's very empty because I cut the pattern out ages ago and then just never got around to making the raincoat. And so I think this is a year to do it. Every season when it kind of the rainy season rolls around, which kind of starts, late spring and then all summer long because, that's hurricane season, I'm always like, gosh, I wish I had my raincoat. And this is the year for it to actually get made and worn because I always wish that I had it and I don't. And so no more excuses. Before it starts raining crazy hard here, this will get made and I'm looking forward to it. It is a new type of fabric. I have not sewn with this fabric. I'm not 100% sure on what needle is going to work best. I may want to try a vinyl needle or maybe that super fancy non-stick needle that Smets makes that I do have on hand. We're going to test it out and find out what needle will work better for this vinyl coated cotton. I have this gorgeous corduroy. It is eggplant purple. How much of this do I have? This is 100% cotton. It is 60 inches wide and I got 1.33 yards because I was just planning on making a skirt out of it and that should be enough for a skirt, fingers crossed. I bought this in London and it's just kind of been hanging out in a bin because I could not find a pattern. Back in the, early 2000s, because I was in law school, I had this super cute pink corduroy skirt from the Gap that was an A-line. It had buttons up the front. I loved it, and then it didn't fit, and I got rid of it. I should have saved it and then Now that I'm back at this size, it probably would have fit by now. But that was the skirt I had in mind when I bought this fabric. And so when I found this pattern from Grainline Studio, I thought, oh, that's super cute. It reminds me of my pink skirt. I might need to make a few modifications because this looks like it's at the waist, and we all know I don't like anything at my waist. So I might drop the waist, but I think with either version of this short skirt, it will be manageable. This is, what's the name of this? This is the reed skirt. It comes in 2 variations, 4 lengths, and if I don't want to make all these buttons, I might just go with the little pockets on the front, which I think would still be super, super cute. And I think this will work well in corduroy. Now, I found this pattern at the International Quilt Fest for $1, so of course I had to buy it. Jen was with me and she picked up some dollar patterns too from indie pattern companies, which is always kind of fun considering that the list price on this is $18. So that's something that will happen probably also sooner rather than later, since the window to wear corduroy in Texas is very short and limited. Another plan that I have this year that I'm super excited about is I'm going to Louisville in April to take a Palmer and Pletch fit class. It is a 4-day class, and then I'm going to do the teacher certification class that is on the 5th day once we've done the actual class. Now, this is going to be a fitting class. It's not super sewing oriented, but the exciting thing is that I'm going to basically get this pattern to fit perfectly. I'm going to learn how to do this, and then I'm going to teach you how to do it. And the beauty of it is that Palmer and Pletch has a ton of commercial patterns that are available in, this is an older out of print one, so this is the McCall's version, but all of their current patterns are now in Butterick. So they have the design lines. You've probably heard me talking about this with Grace during the live stream in December. And they have lines on their patterns to be able to do the alterations. So if you look very closely at the drawing, you can see the red lines on there, which are all the places to do the adjustments to get the exact fit that you need to make this commercial pattern fit. And the beauty of the system is that you can transfer these lines to any commercial pattern and make the same kind of adjustments to be able to get it to fit you perfectly. And I know that you sew with commercial patterns primarily, just like I do. And it will be nice to have some certain things that aren't those, boxy kind of clothes. If you want a little bit more fitted jacket or dress or a skirt, then you can learn how to get the fit so that it looks really awesome and professional, and not just making the size that most closely fits your own measurements. So one of the things they do is we will be working with this pattern in the class, but then they also said that you could bring additional patterns, recommending that you get the Palmer and Pletch patterns, and can get those patterns all fitted and learn how to fit different patterns outside of just the, the bodice, the skirt, and the sleeve. And so I picked up some additional patterns. Actually, I had this one because it's also McCall's. This is just a basic jacket. Now, this is a unisex pattern, which means the fitting is always kind of crazy on a unisex pattern, in my opinion. And so this is something that I definitely I will be taking with me to get the fit on, because as I've mentioned before, jackets are always a little too tight across my shoulders. And like when I'm in court and I hand the judge something, like that's as far as my arms can go. I can't, I have to kind of step on tiptoes, and because I can't get my arms like this with the jacket on. So this is a really classic style jacket. You can see the line art there. And I think it would be really great to have in my suit making arsenal, because I've stayed away from tailored patterns because I'm not great at doing fitting and alterations. It's not something I learned in school. And because of that, I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm not comfortable sharing my lack of expertise with you and telling you to do something that's not going to work. So that's another reason why I wanted to get certified in the teaching method of this system, because I think it can really help you learn how to get patterns to fit you better, and then you're going to be more confident in your sewing because you're going to know that, yes, this is going to fit me, and that's what we all want in the long run, right? So back to this pattern though, I bought some gorgeous seersucker fabric in Louisiana. When was this? This was 2 years ago. There was a little fabric store in the hometown where my family lives. And, you know, it's mostly quilting fabric, but they had a little bit a section of seersucker. And I was like, oh, I love seersucker. This is like the quintessential Southern lawyer suit fabric. If you've never touched or seen seersucker, it has a little bit of a ridge in it. It's the way that it's woven. And it's a very lightweight fabric. So it's perfect for suiting for hot, steamy southern climates. And so it's a great weight, but it also is made out of cotton. So it is very breathable and it's just beautiful. And I've always wanted a seersucker suit. They don't really make a lot of women's suits out of seersucker. When you go to the department store, men have seersucker suit options during the summertime, and they just don't make them for women. So when I found this, I was super excited. Now, you may not be able to tell. I'm gonna hold this up so you can kind of see. This is purple and white. So it is a grape purple. And of course I had to have it because purple's my favorite color. And I just loved it. And I bought a lot of it. I don't remember, I haven't taken this off the bolt since I bought it, but I think it's about like 8 yards because I was telling my aunt about it, and even though she doesn't sew and kind of has PTSD from her home ec days in high school, she was like, no, you have to get enough to be able to make a dress and a jacket and a skirt so you can change it up and, you know, have some options. So that is what I ended up doing, and I have quite a bit of it. One of the other components of the class that I thought was very cool is that you tissue fit the pattern to your body, and then you take that and cut it out in the fabric. And they said that there would be time to be able to do that. So this is one of the patterns I'm going to take along with my fabric, and hopefully that will help speed up the process to get this made. We'll see. I'm not really sure how the process works exactly. I did take a class at the International Quilt Festival where we were using little half-scale bodice blocks to learn how you do the different adjustments and the method that Palmer and Plutch use specifically, and the order that they do the adjustments to get the fit right. So I'm very excited about that. If you live in the Louisville area, let me know. I'd love to meet up for a coffee when I'm done with class one evening. That would be fun. And you know, if you want to take the class with me, there's still some openings. You can go to the palmerandplutch.com and check out their classes. It is the 4-day class in Louisville, April 3rd through the 6th, I believe. I will be there the 2nd through the 8th. So yeah, let me know if you'll be there too. So the last pattern and fabric that I kind of have an idea for this year, and it's not to say that this is all I'm gonna make this year, because we all know that I have these sewing plans videos, and sometimes some things get made and sometimes they don't. These are my like to makes this year, using some of these different fabrics and kind of mixing it up a little bit. And so I also, from the same Vogue Pattern magazine, they had this Anna Sui pattern, was another featured pattern in that edition, that same magazine. This is $17.89. I also bought this on Etsy. It is out of print, unfortunately. This is also from 1996. I really like this dress. I think it's super cute. It is an A-line skirt. There is a seam here across the top, and then there's also does this one have the drop waist? No, this one has the seam across the top, and then it has faux patch pockets on the front. Or no, they're not faux, they're actual pockets. Has pockets on the front, so it kind of has like a yoke with a seam. And I thought about different types of fabrics that would work well with this. And the funny thing is back in the 90s, the Vogue patterns were all very, very specific about the type of fabric you should use. So for this particular dress, it says dress C, your option is synthetic ultra suede. I don't know about you, but I'm not making an ultra suede dress because it just sounds hot, especially down here. And I've never been a huge fan of ultra suede for a dress. It might be fine for a jacket or a skirt, but I think this would look kind of weird. And where am I going to find red ultra suede? Even if I wanted to. But I'm thinking linen might be a good substitute for ultra suede. It might be a little bit softer, so the dress might not be quite as stiff. But this is a beautiful rayon linen that I bought at High Fashion when it was closing. This is Italian, so like the weave and the yarn on this is just absolutely gorgeous. It is so fine. It is softer than regular linen, so maybe it'll be a little too soft for this dress, but I might just do it anyway and just see what happens because I've never sewn with rayon linen. Most of the linen I use is cotton and flax, and it's usually either 80% flax with a little bit of cotton thrown in, or 100% flax, which is a much stiffer fiber than rayon. So I have enough of this to make this dress, and I'm doing a solid color, which is not what I usually do, because of the style lines on the dress, and I think it would look cute when you could actually be able to see them as opposed to using printed fabric that would kind of obscure those lines. So that was my reasoning. Now I do also have this in hot pink and purple, so we'll see. I'm not sure. I think this green looks good on me. It's a good colored green. But maybe I'll end up making it in purple instead. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts. I'd appreciate that. Now, if you're worrying that I'm going to be using too many fancy fabrics this year and you're not going to be feeling inspired, or you're not going to be feeling like you can follow along and sew along with me, have no fear. Coming up later this month is going to be a kimono, tear and sew kimono. It's actually going to be a tear and serge kimono because we're going to be using the rolled hem on your serger to sew an entire kimono. And there's no pattern. We're going to take measurements and then we're going to tear the fabric. Now this is a rayon plain weave. This is actually a K-facet print. I bought this from my friends at Leo 9. I did also buy the darker colorway, which was like reds and turquoise, that I made the original version out of this that is now grandma's because it did not fit me. So I'm gonna make my own. I do have enough yardage of this to make that happen. That will be coming up. That is a very easy fabric to find. You can also use 100% cotton broadcloth. This just happens to be rayon because that is what they had. Now, I'm also not going to be doing crazy, super tailored clothes all year long because, let's face it, they take longer. I really don't want to do any kind of hardcore tailoring or fitting until after I take my class and start, practicing on some things. So there will be plenty of slightly boxy, not fitted clothes that you can follow along with. I am actually going to be making several boxy little dresses to wear at the course because they said that you should wear leggings and like a fitted like tank top or camisole under your clothes because you're going to be taking them off and tissue fitting. So I thought, why not a boxy dress? I fell in love with this fabric. This is more K-facet. This is broadcloth. I bought this at Leo 9 when I was there over Thanksgiving. I just fell in love with the graphic nature of this. And, a boxy dress is easy to make and it will fit well over leggings and a, black tank top. So I can take it off and put it back on and still look put together for the majority of the class, but also have, an outfit that's not complicated to change out of with, jeans or t-shirt or all that good stuff. And I don't want to stand around in leggings and a tank top all day either, which is why the boxy dress is going to be perfect. Now, I was planning on using a pattern, a Japanese pattern for this. This is the Nanny Iro Japanese sewing book. I've previously made a cocoon dress from this book. I am going to be making the t-shirt dress. So this is going to be the boxy dress that I bought this fabric to specifically make. It's a little bit longer. I do also have a McCall's pattern that I love. This is McCall's 8160. I believe this is still in print. I got this for free with an edition of Love Sewing magazine. I have previously made this dress in 2 different versions. I made it in a beautiful like lawn with an orchid print, and then I also made it in this kind of darker Japanese fabric also a broadcloth, and it's another really quick dress to sew up. So I might make like, you know, like maybe a couple of short ones, a couple of longer ones from this book, and you know, we'll see how it goes. I just wanted something that was going to be easy and cute, and I think that's going to work. I also feel like I need to finish up some things that are just still hanging around. And I really hate the term like unfinished objects, like UFOs. Like, those are the things we're seeing in the sky, not on my sewing table. But I do have a couple of projects that still are hanging around and need to be finished to be able to do some other things. So, this is the linen jacket that you saw in the end of the year wrap up video that is still not finished. But it needs to get finished because this year we are doing bound buttonholes with Grandma. It is happening for sure. I know I've been talking about it for a couple of years, but Grandma's going to be 100 in March. And so I really want to get this done before she decides she doesn't want to be on my YouTube channel anymore because she's not feeling it. Grandma still has more good days than bad days, but you know, we want to get her going, and you know, I don't want to wait. So this needs to get finished so that can happen. I also have this really jacket, this beautiful Japanese sateen that I got. I just need to finish this. It's almost done. I have to put the band around the neck and then finish the sleeves, and then it's done. So it's going to be a quick finish if I can just get this to fit. And then the other project that needs to get done is this poor dress. Fabric is Pierre Cardin from Mood. It is gorgeous. It is this divine, soft cotton sateen, and I just need to go fit it properly so that I can actually wear it. And last is the McCall's 8285. This is the denim dress that did not get finished in time for the honeymoon. It is all cut out and in a basket under this table. So that could be the first thing to just kind of kick off the sewing for, you know, January and get that done. Rodeo season is in March and I'm gonna want to wear it. So, you know, better to get on that sooner rather than later. Those are my plans. They're always very lofty. I always have a lot of ideas and goals and wanna makes. So I am sure you do too. Let me know in the comments below what you're excited about making for yourself, or if any of these patterns are something that you're excited to make and learn more about, let me know. And this is also your chance to let me know if there are any patterns that you've kind of had a challenge with or been struggling with that you would like me to do a sew along. If I like the pattern and it's something I would wear, then I will do a sew along of it. So let me know your thoughts. Leave some pattern suggestions for sew alongs below. And I can't wait to hear from you. There is another great video coming up next. You totally want to check it out. I will see you over there.